Let's implement our copy method. And to do that, I'm going to create some test cases. So this one, public void test ABC copy. And let's see, we want to create a stack. Whoops, that's going to be a string. We'll call it copy. And this will just be a copy of the ABC stack. Done. And now we'll check some things about that stack. We'll check that the depth of this stack is equal to the depth of the original stack. So the depth is 3. And the copy depth is that. That's the actual depth. Okay. Do another assert equals for the capacity. And that's going to be copy.capacity. And we'll do another assert equals. Let's try. Let's do an assert equals just for the stacks themselves. So we expect the copy to equal the original. So that should work also. And finally, I'm just going to check if the objects in the stack are references. We said they want them to be references to each other, so that means they're the exact same object. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say string s1 equals stack abc6 pop. So that's going to give me the top element. And then string s1 copy, I'm going to say copy dot pop. That's going to give me the top element of that one. And then I'm going to check if they're the exact same object by doing this. S1 equals S1 copy. Okay, and I get a little warning message here that I'm comparing strings using equals equals. You should basically never do that, except perhaps when you want to determine whether they are exactly the same object, as we do in this test. Okay, so we can do something similar for testing the empty stack. In fact, I'm going to put that test first. Test empty copy, and this will be stack empty 3. And I'm going to copy this everywhere. Paste, paste. Of course, we won't be able to check the top elements because the empty stack doesn't have any top elements, but we will be able to check that the depth is 0 and that the capacity is 3 and that these two stacks are equal. Now, one thing here, In order to implement the copy operation as a secondary operation, we're going to have to implement new instance as a primary operation. So, and you'll see why once we start implementing copy. But I just want to, while I'm here, I just want to create tests for that. So new instance, public void test, empty new instance. All right, so for this, I want a stack of strings. New stack equals stack empty 3 new instance, and I want to check if it's empty. Assert equals 0 new stack dot depth. Okay, and assert equals, I want to make sure it has the same capacity as the original stack, which is stack empty 3. That capacity, sorry, that should be, I want to check if the new stack has a capacity of 3. Okay, and I want to do something similar with the ABC stack. Okay, test ABC new instance, stack ABC 6. Okay, so this should be empty because remember when we create a new instance, we're creating an empty stack and it should have the same capacity, which in this case is 6. Of course, when we run those tests, they should all fail. All right, so let's go and implement the new instance as a primary method. Yeah, okay, so we're just going to this is going to be the new stack. We'll call it result, and it's not a stack, it's a stack. And this is basically, we're going to call the constructor on this new list stack. And that's why this has to be implemented as a primary method, because we're calling a constructor, and only the concrete classes have constructors. Okay, so I want to pass in the original capacity, so that's just capacity. And of course, I want to return the result. Return result. Okay, and if you look down here now, we've got 4 classes that fail. I'm hoping all these new instance classes, or these new instance tests, pass now. Okay, only 2 tests failed. So that means our new instance is working. And now let's go implement copy. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new instance. That's why we implemented that. And I'm going to do a similar thing here. I'm going to say stacky result equals this dot new instance. Okay, so that gives me a empty stack with the same capacity as the current stack. All right, so I'm gonna basically iterate through the current stack, because remember, iteration goes from bottom to top, and then with each iteration I'm going to push the element onto the stack. Okay, and by pushing the element onto the stack, I'm not going to remove it from the current stack. All right, so I can use a for each loop to do that. So I'm going to say for e element in this. Basically, I'm just going to say result push element, and then return result. And I think it's going to be as simple as that, but let's find out. Let's run the tests. And there it is. All the tests have passed.